So,
That's pretty.
y'all doing all right? No strange dreams from last night?
Then somebody woke me up, so I don't know what happened.
Reality last night was weirder than your dream, I'm sure, right?
I think reality is weirder.
Yeah, especially last night. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'll just say.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Was it nice and tense for you?
This is where I'm living. This is Dresden, by the way.
Whoa.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
This is like Coruscant. They have a very, very beautiful medieval Christmas market.
Of course.
Wow.
It's
So
actually
that is a big recommendation from me.
it's the longest continually running Christmas market I think of all. Continuously running.
So what do they sell? Like snowmen and
Overpriced tourist junk.
No, I mean,
on the medieval one,
no,
they also
like
sell
the
like
German
this.
Christmas markets are more than what you think they are. They're very cool. But
Yeah, I mean,
they're just-
to be fair, I was just making a joke, but you know, yeah.
Yeah, they have and there's Christmas markets everywhere. There's
Yeah.
like
Oh, yeah.
5 of them. There's
Wow.
it just goes to the whole city. There's a medieval one. There's a castle.
Oh, you mean like one after another?
Yeah, but they're all like you just keep going and going.
Yeah.
So there's lots of them.
Nice.
This is the ship I've been talking about.
Oh wow.
Byway of Next Wave. It's still pretty much there down the harbor now. There's Greece.
Schiff, über das ich geredet habe, liegt jetzt gerade in Griechenland.
So I was on it, let's see, twice, 2 seasons.
War zweimal drauf für 2 Jahreszeiten.
As mentioned, the second season was beginning of 2016, I think it was.
2016 oder so.
And we brought it here to Lesbos, and we're helping out with the refugee crisis.
Wir sind nach Lesbos gefahren, haben mit den Flüchtlingen geholfen.
But my first season on it was leading a DBS.
Und das erste Mal haben wir ein DBS geleitet.
And this is you can see the red line, this is the journey we took.
Und wenn ihr die rote Linie hier sehen könnt, das ist so sind wir da gefahren.
We started in Cyprus,
Wir sind in Zypern angefangen,
whatever the Paphos I mentioned, Paul going to Paphos.
wo Paulus in Paphos war.
Yeah, we were there. Then we sailed over to Israel.
Wir sind dann nach Israel rübergefahren,
Did a really quick week-long tour around Israel
haben eine kurze Woche sind da rumgereist.
Wow.
with the archaeologist that teaches in some of the SBSs that I know.
Mit einem Archäologen, der ab und zu in SBS unterrichtet.
I forgot to bring it, but he was even on board of one of the sites.
Und er hat uns da dann auch an der Fundorte umgeführt.
So he let us kind of steal some pottery pieces that nobody's gonna come look.
Und er hat uns gesagt, dass wir dann
Declaration of Independence,
Tonstücke stehlen können, die keine Bedeutung für Archäologen heutzutage haben, weil es so viel gibt.
And I didn't make it to my suitcase. I usually show it to you guys.
Und normalerweise habe ich das dabei, aber ich habe es jetzt vergessen.
But I got a handle piece from a wine jug from the time of King David.
Und ich habe einen Weinkrug, den Griff eines Weinkrugs aus der Zeit König Davids
And a piece of a bowl from the time of Jesus.
und ein Stück einer Schüssel aus der Zeit Jesu.
Anyway, so we go up to Turkey, we sail along the coastline,
Und dann sind wir in die Türkei an der Küste entlang gesegelt
end up in Ephesus,
und dann nach Ephesus
and across the Patmos,
und dann rüber nach Patmos.
across the Aegean Islands, Aegean Islands, the Greek
Die
islands.
Ägäischen Inseln,
We did Athens, we did Corinth,
nach Athen, nach Korinth,
sailed up the other side of Greece,
sind da Griechenland entlang gesegelt,
Sicily, Malta.
Sizilien, Malta.
We took anchor one night. We're in the bay where it's believed that Paul kind of washed ashore.
Und sind da geankert, wo man vermutet, dass Paulus wahrscheinlich angegriffen wurde.
And then we flew up to Rome to finish.
Und dann sind wir nach Rom geflogen zum Schluss.
So that was the DBS I ran. It was pretty cool.
Das war das DBS, das ich geleitet habe. Das war ziemlich nice.
Alright. So just a little something there. Let's see what this one is. Okay. So we finished with Philippians end of yesterday.
Und wir haben den Philippa gestern fertig gemacht.
So what Paul does is he's kind of run out of town.
Der Paulus wird aus der Stadt rausgeschmissen.
So he heads down the road and he heads to Thessaloniki, Thessalonica.
Also geht
Lots
er
of different names
nach
for it.
Thessalonich.
And then he has some events there.
Und da passiert auch einiges.
Okay. But kind of one of the main issues in Thessalonians
Und eins der Hauptthemen in den Thessalonikern
is Paul kind of writes about the return of Christ.
da schreibt der Paulus über die Wiederkunft Christi.
And so this is, we're going to approach just a little bit what we call eschatological issues.
Und da reden wir ein bisschen über die eschatologischen Probleme.
And that big word just simply means end of the time theology.
Und das große Wort Eschatologie heißt einfach nur die Theologie der Endzeit.
All right? So this is maybe some of your first kind of diving into some of this.
Und das könnte jetzt das erste Mal sein, dass ihr da reintaucht.
We aren't going to go too deep.
Wir gehen jetzt da nicht zu tief rein.
You'll get a little bit more, obviously, kind of that discussion when we get to Revelation and stuff.
Ihr kriegt natürlich mehr von dieser Diskussion mit, wenn es dann um Offenbarung geht.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
Next week.
You know something we don't know? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so
I'll tell you everything about the end times.
Yeah. But in a DBS, I mean, scholars are still debating and debating and debating, so the DBS, you're barely going to scratch the surface.
Ja, und in der Eschatologie sind die Gelehrten am Diskutieren und da kratzen wir nur ein winziges bisschen über die Oberfläche.
So don't have super high expectations that you're suddenly going to know what's going to happen.
Also erwartet nicht, dass ihr auf einmal wisst, das wird passieren.
Okay? Alright, but to start,
Also zum Anfang,
I want you guys to have a little discussion amongst yourselves.
ich möchte, dass ihr etwas untereinander diskutiert.
In your rows or just the two or three of you, whatever.
Entweder in euren Sitzreihen oder nur drei Leute zusammen oder so.
Got an extra little piece of paper or something.
Schreibt auf ein Blatt.
I want you to just discuss for a few minutes, what do you think about the second coming of Christ?
Ich möchte, dass ihr diskutiert, was denkst du über das zweite Kommen?
Anything that comes to mind.
Alles, was so aufkommt.
Whether you think it's right or wrong or who knows.
Ob ihr denkt, es stimmt, es ist doof oder was auch immer.
Whatever you've heard or seen.
Was auch immer ihr gehört oder gesehen habt.
Any thoughts of when it is.
Habt ihr irgendwelche Gedanken, wann das sein wird?
Should and how should we prepare for it?
Wie sollen wir uns darauf vorbereiten? Oder sollten wir uns darauf vorbereiten?
Just whatever you've kind of thoughts that are flowing out there.
Gedanken, die einfach so umschwirren gerade.
Go ahead and take 5 minutes or so and just kind of talk and then write some things down.
Einfach mal reden und ein paar Gedanken aufschreiben.
This is definitely not a right or wrong thing, it's just what's out there.
Es geht nicht um richtig oder falsch. Ja.
I'm still on that
I mean, I can see where Chris is soon.
Actually, it's
Might not be.
you even understand what you're about to say.
I know before.
There's something
I
else.
just put it there. We can try it over here.
Something to
You always confuse me.
I know, I'm sorry.
I think it should motivate me more to reach others than what it has.
Something's gonna happen
You know,
someday.
it should motivate us a whole lot
You don't find it.
A little bit.
to reach other people.
It's something for
We're so
Here, so imagine deny somebody
we can save them good. You know what I mean? We know that there are people lost.
I don't know what else happens.
I don't see
No, I don't know
this
what
in our
I'm
culture in
I don't know what
Canada.
I'm gonna become
They don't
president.
care much. You know, but other people, it's where they're going.
So,
There's some other, there are some people who include friends, family. I don't see where we live.
yeah, maybe it's just maybe just.
No, I don't see much concern.
There he is, probably not going to work.
Think of the Bible and then our revelation.
Yeah.
I'm saying everything's
It seemed like it went well.
I think that whenever I think about
Yeah. Saturday, yeah.
I have a lot of people different opinions, all of them
In September,
So I
yeah.
have people that,
Because it's also really nice. The hour.
yeah, people that usually use it, it's usually used as a
Yeah, you
scare
know.
tactic.
So because
Scare
every
tactic.
time on the
Like, that way it's like something to
Yeah.
scare.
I thought it was just a tabernacles and he came back.
I don't think
That's
that's,
not true for people, yeah.
I think also when you read these, you have to recognize like,
Ask Linda, she'll tell you.
like who the author is writing to.
We
should know our feasts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I know them, but she really,
I
she
think
knows them
sometimes
best.
those does.
My wife.
I think you need to understand the basis of the writing of
Yeah.
it, and that it's very symbolic, like they're storytellers,
Like,
they're storytelling society.
it is Yom
So I don't
Kippur,
think you can take everything
which is the
directly.
Day of Atonement, which would make logical sense that that should come first.
All the things that
One more
you
chance.
think you will come back, it's just like.
Oh, before he comes back.
Yeah, one more chance to repent.
I
Day
don't
of
think
Atonement.
Yeah.
When is Day of
that seems quite
It's in
simplistic.
September usually, near the end of
The
September.
epitome of the
The Day of Atonement, which is the feast in,
Yom Kippur.
day in
Mid-September.
the
Yom Kippur is the
repent for the sins of the nation, sins
I
of
think
the
it's
people.
difficult because my brain automatically
So
thinks.
it's a big deal.
I need to
All
write
of Jerusalem
all
shuts
of
down
that.
for the
And
day.
that's my
Yeah.
responsibility.
Nobody's allowed to drive on the
We
road.
have connections to they celebrate the
Yeah.
thing
The
every
Yom
year.
Kippur War.
Yeah, I guess it was it.
I don't remember getting
Or
What's the exact sequence again? Rosh Hashanah, there's the Day of
Rosh Hashanah,
Atonement.
Yom Kippur. Once you hit September, there's a
I
few in a row.
know.
Alright, one more minute.
Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. I don't know what that is. Sukkot, which is Feast of Tabernacles.
Yeah,
Hanukkah.
okay, that's too far. Where is trumpets? Is that one?
No, that's Rosh Hashanah. I think it's
Okay. The shofar blood, yeah. So which comes first? No, this one?
It's Rosh Hashanah and then Yom Kippur.
Yeah. And then we
Sukkot.
dwell with it.
Sukkot is for a Wednesday.
30 seconds.
Why are you asking me questions I don't need answers?
Emma, I thought you were supposed to know everything.
When have I ever said that? My usual things that come out of my mouth is, I don't know crap.
Passover.
Snap.
April, right? Passover.
Oh, there.
So what's things too?
Thank you.
Alright, wrap it up.
Maybe soon, maybe not. I mean, there was a couple years ago, there was.
They thought it was too. Anytime now.
Sometime you think, maybe it could be
It's
tomorrow.
not, the second one isn't
You
known
know?
as valid.
I mean, there's no.
Yeah. But it could be tomorrow.
Rosh
It could be 1,000 years as
So
well.
it's like a 3-day celebration.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Like New Year. You celebrate the evening.
So my
of the
basic
day.
philosophy is we have to be
Same kind of
ready.
idea.
We have to?
We have to be
Yes,
ready.
Yeah.
And if we're ready,
Then,
if we're not ready, then we
actually,
go.
I guess.
Okay, let's bring it together. Alright, so what are some of the things out there you've heard? What were you talking about?
So, was habt ihr so aufgebracht?
Oh, come on, you all are just chatting. Why not?
Komm bitte. Erzählt.
So our group talked about like a few different like pictures or like things that we imagined it to be like, but then in the end, Leah was just talking about that like she doesn't think we should expect like too much or think that we know what's gonna happen in the second coming because like when Jesus came the first time, then he was completely different than everybody thought. And so yeah, she's saying more to focus on like what it will be, not how it will be. I think I mixed them up then.
Okay.
It's fine.
So what were some of those things before that? It's kind of out there you heard that you're wrestling with. Again, we're not looking for the right answers here. We just keep what's out there.
Richtig und falsch, es geht darum, was schwirrt da draußen so rum.
I've heard once that that Jesus, like the first time he rose on the third day, like the morning of the third day, and so then it says that one day is like 1,000 years, it could be like shortly after 2,000 years, which might be soon from now.
Okay. Alright. Alright, so it could be 2,000, 3,000 years.
Yeah.
Something, okay. What else?
Was noch?
Well, I've heard and read a little bit like the nations of the earth are going to gather for battle in the Valley of Armageddon, like in the north of Israel.
Next to the Mount Carmel.
I mean, there are a lot of different things it talks about when talking about the end times and what signs there can be for that sort of thing. But then it also just says, you'll never be expecting it really, and it talks more about being deceived by things and being, in the dark about things than actually recognizing and acknowledging what's going on, and that we're getting closer to that. So, I mean, there's a lot of theological stuff to talk about.
Yeah. What's some of the imagery that's out there? Just
Was sind so die
culture.
Vorstellungen, die da sind?
Another Antichrist
Okay, good, yeah.
who hasn't broken any bones.
What else is out there?
So he's a vegan.
Wow. We talked
Not
about
exactly
like
sure what that
darkness
means.
coming
That's
over the
that,
earth,
but
and then
never
also
mind.
light coming in.
Oh, come on, you guys are really chatty. Come on.
Ja, vorhin so viel geredet.
Come on.
The animal.
Huh?
The animal.
The beast.
The beast.
Beast? Okay?
A really big prostitute.
Big prostitute.
I remember this.
Sure that you didn't thought about
Really, you do?
I know.
Because I mean, it's a metaphor, but it's there.
Babylon.
So are you saying that people are actually expecting a big prostitute?
Hey, man.
A woman that's big?
Alright. I think it was also interesting
How you
because
interpret
the
the Bible.
cultural
yesterday evening
surrounding like reaction that we have is like you need to get your crap together, and basically it has almost this feeling of like, oh well, your mom could walk anytime, so like don't be making a mess or something like that. But at the same time, I don't know if that's really how it works.
Okay. Any?
A dragon and a woman giving birth. When was the last time you read or watched?
Come on.
This moon turning red, slash sky turning red.
Kind of signs. Yeah.
Blood filling the
People
earth.
coming out.
Rapture. Ever hear this term, rapture?
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Have you heard this term?
Yes.
Okay.
Entrückung, danke.
How about the what was popular a while back? The whole book series.
That's behind.
Huh?
Or dispensationally theory.
Sorry, one person. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, a third of the earth is burned up.
Yeah, third of the earth burned. Fire. Left Behind series. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a dispensationally.
Yeah. So there's planes falling out of the sky, etc., etc. All right. So I just wanted you to kind of just think about what's out there. All right.
Das ist mir nicht bewusst, was da
There's more. Thanks, Steven. That wasn't enough.
Because obviously there There is a lot of unknowns.
Yeah,
There is,
Unbekanntes.
plenty.
the Left Behind series that kind of became this, it's a fictional kind of writing, but based off a particular theology about the end times. That became popular.
Da gibt es dieses bekannte Buch über die Endzeit. Genau.
I'm sure that Christ will come.
Yeah, sure, Christ will come.
And looking at the Corinthians chapter 15, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, 27. God has put all things in subject under his feet. So I believe that redemption had happened through the cross of Calvary, and restoration is happening. So his church is a body. So everything will restore through the church and power of the Holy Spirit. So when that is ending, the Christ will come. The earth and the invisible world and visible world, we can live. Visible world can also join with the invisible. So that's actually full coming of Christ. I'm sure that Christ will come
Okay.
anytime.
All right. So, yeah, there's just a lot out there. It's become, in a way, its own Christian pop culture of what the end times is.
Das ist so ein bisschen fast wie die christliche Popkultur. Wie wird die Endzeit sein?
In history,
Und in der Geschichte
this has been a huge question.
war das eine Riesenfrage.
When is Jesus coming back?
Wann kommt denn Jesus wieder?
All right.
Ja?
So mankind has always wrestled with this.
Die Menschheit hat schon immer sich damit rumgeschlagen.
Ja. And it even starts, I think one of the earliest forms we see of this is right there in the Bible, and especially in the book of Thessalonians.
Und eine der ersten Formen davon sehen wir in Thessalonichen.
So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through a brief history of when mankind was so sure that Jesus was coming back.
Und deswegen gehen wir ein bisschen durch die Geschichte, wann war die Menschheit sich sicher, dass Jesus bald zurückkommt, jetzt zurückkommt.
Sure, there's many more out there, but I figured I would share some of the shining moments of predicting Jesus coming back.
Da gibt es garantiert noch wesentlich mehr, aber ich gehe jetzt einfach mal durch die bekanntesten, schönsten Momente der Menschheitsgeschichte.
Okay? So 53 AD, we have the Thessalonians.
Also wir haben im Jahre 53
Before even
die Thessalonicher.
Before even the books of the Bible were written, there was talk about Christ's return had already taken place.
Noch bevor die Bibel fertig geschrieben war, haben schon manche Leute gesagt, ja, der ist schon gekommen und war schon.
The Thessalonians panicked on Paul and heard a rumor that the day of the Lord was at hand, or they may have even missed this thing called the rapture.
Manche haben dann gesagt, wir haben schon die Entrückung verpasst.
But they were fine, they were there. The year 1000.
Das Jahr 1000.
This year was one of the most pronounced times of hysteria over the return of Christ.
Das war eines der wichtigsten, hysterischsten Jahre über die Rückkehr Christi.
All members of society seemed affected by the prediction that Jesus was coming back on January 1st, 1000 AD.
Irgendwie haben alle erwartet, dass am 1. Januar 1000 nach Christus wiederkommt.
There really wasn't any of the events required by the Bible.
Es gab zwar nichts, was von der Bibel her darauf hingewiesen hätte,
It's just the magical number 1000.
aber es ist einfach diese magische Nummer 1000.
During December 999,
Und im Dezember 999
everyone was on the best behavior, worldly goods were sold and given to the poor.
jeder hat sich so gut verhalten wie nur möglich. Ne? Alle haben ihren Besitz verkauft und den Armen gegeben.
Swarms of pilgrims headed to the east to meet the Lord in Jerusalem.
Ein Haufen Pilger reiste nach Osten, um dem Herrn in Jerusalem zu begegnen.
Buildings went unrepaired, crops were left unplanted, and criminals were set free from jails.
Die Gebäude wurden nicht mehr repariert, die Saat wurde nicht mehr ausgesät und Gefangene wurden freigelassen aus den Gefängnissen.
999 turned into 1000 and nothing.
Ja, und aus 999 wurde 1000 und nichts passiert.
What happened?
Was ist passiert?
Oh wait, that's when Christ was born, not when he died and resurrected.
Das war ja, als er geboren ist, nicht als er gestorben und auferstanden ist.
So he was 33, so 1033.
Also er war 33, also ja natürlich im Jahr 1033, da ist es.
Still nothing happened.
Immer noch nichts passiert.
1186.
1186.
A document called the Letter of Toledo warned everyone to hide in caves and mountains.
Ein Schriftstück namens dem Brief von Toledo.
The world would be
Er hat alle gewarnt, sich in Höhlen zu verstecken und an den Bergen.
the world would be destroyed and only a few would be spared.
Die Welt wird zerstört werden und nur ein paar werden überleben. Werden überleben.
But we're still here.
Aber wir sind immer noch da.
1420,
1420.
the Taborites of Czechoslovakia predicted every city would be annihilated by fire. Only 5 mountain strongholds would be saved.
Die Taboriten aus der Tschechei haben vorausgesagt, dass alle Städte durch Feuer zerstört werden und nur 5 Berge stehen bleiben werden.
Those silly Czech neighbors of ours.
Ja, diese Tschechen.
But don't fear, the Germans get in on the action.
Und dann mischen sich die Deutschen ein.
We have in Munster, a leader of German peasants announced the return of Christ was near. After he and his men destroyed the high and mighty, the Lord would return.
Also Munzer, ein deutscher bürgerlicher Anführer, hat gesagt, ja, der Tag Christi ist nah und es kommt jetzt und wir müssen wir müssen die Mächtigen zerstören, damit der Herr wiederkommt.
This belief led to an uneven battle with government troops where he was strategically outnumbered.
Und deswegen hat er die Regierung angegriffen und wurde natürlich überrannt.
Munster claimed that he had a vision from God where the Lord had promised that he would catch cannonballs of the enemy in the sleeves of his cloak.
Und er hat gesagt, Munzer hat gesagt, dass er eine Vision Gottes hatte, wie er Kanonenkugeln mit seinem Mantel auffängt.
Well, the vision turned out to be false when him and his believers were mowed down by cannon fire.
Und er wurde dann widerlegt dadurch, dass er von Kanonen, er und seine Leute von Kanonen niedergemacht wurden.
In 1534,
In 1534,
a repeat of the Munster affair occurred a few years later.
da hat sich das Ganze nochmal wiederholt.
This time when Jan Mathis took over the city of Munster.
Dieses Mal war das der Jan Matthys, der Münster eingenommen hat.
He said the city would be the only one spared destruction.
Er hat gesagt, Münster ist die einzige Stadt, die von der Zerstörung verschont bleibt.
Most of the inhabitants of Munster were chased out by Mathis and his men.
Und die meisten Einwohner aus Münster wurden dann von Matthys und seinen Leuten verjagt.
The inhabitants eventually regrouped and laid siege to the city.
Und die Leute, die vorher drin gewohnt haben, haben dann die Stadt belagert.
Within a year, everyone in the city was dead.
Und nach einem Jahr war dann die Stadt komplett ausgestorben.
It's quite twisted. You can hear a long story, historical story of this particular event.
Das ist jetzt ganz kurz gefasst, das war eine längere Geschichte.
And these guys that messed up the city so bad,
Und die haben die Stadt so auf den Kopf gestellt.
they literally strung them up,
Die haben die,
like hung them up,
okay, also sie haben sie aufgehängt.
and they executed them by literally removing body parts one bit at a time.
Und sie haben sie exekutiert dadurch, dass sie tatsächlich ein Körperteil nach dem anderen entfernt haben.
If they passed out, they would splash water on them, wake them up.
Wenn die das Bewusstsein verloren haben, haben sie Wasser ins Gesicht gekippt.
And continue. So they really did not like what these guys did.
Also die haben es wirklich nicht leiden können, was die da gemacht haben mit Münster.
But don't worry, The Brits are just as weird, they get into it.
Und die Briten sind aber genauso schlimm.
A group called the Fifth Monarchy men look for Jesus to establish a theocracy.
Eine Gruppe namens die 5. Monarchie Männer haben versucht, eine Theokratie